The Way of the World by William Congreve. Chapter 1. A Day in London. Society. Once upon a time, in the bustling city of London, there lived a group of wealthy and fashionable people who spent their days attending parties, gossiping and playing games of wit. These men and women were part of high society, a world where appearances mattered more than anything else. They talked cleverly, schemed endlessly, and loved deeply, but often in complicated ways. Among these people was a charming young man named Mirabel. He was handsome, smart, and very good at making people laugh. Everyone liked him, but he had one big problem. He was in love with a woman named Millamant. And though Millamant also loved him, their path to happiness was not easy. Millamant was beautiful, witty, and independent. She didn't want to marry just anyone. She wanted a husband who would respect her freedom and treat her as an equal. "I will not give up my liberty for anyone," she often said. "If I marry, it must be on my terms." Mirabel understood this about Millamant, and he admired her for it. But there was another obstacle standing in their way: Lady Wishfort, Millamant's aunt. Lady Wishfort was a vain and controlling older woman who cared deeply about her appearance and her reputation. She hated Mirabel because she thought he had tricked her once before, and she did not want him to marry her niece. One day, Mirabel decided to visit his friend Fainall, hoping to find a solution to his problem. Fainall was married to a woman named Mrs. Fainall, but their marriage was not a happy one. Fainall was selfish and greedy, always looking for ways to gain more money or power. He often worked with another clever woman named Mrs. Marwood, who was secretly in love with him. When Mirabel arrived at Fainall's house, he found him talking to Mrs. Marwood. They stopped their conversation when they saw him and greeted him coldly. Mirabel knew they weren't friends. In fact, Mrs. Marwood disliked him almost as much as Lady Wishfort did. She resented him because she believed he had once insulted her pride. "Good morning, Fainall," Mirabel said politely. "Mrs. Marwood." Fainall nodded without smiling. "What brings you here?" he asked. "I need your help," Mirabel replied. "I am trying to win Lady Wishfort's approval so I can marry Millamant. Without her blessing, it will be difficult." Mrs. Marwood smirked. "You'll have a hard time convincing her," she said. "She despises you." Mirabel ignored her comment and turned back to Fainall. "Surely you understand how important this is to me. Can you think of any way to soften her feelings toward me?" Fainall shrugged. "Perhaps," he said. "But why should I help you? What's in it for me?" Mirabel sighed. He had expected this response. Fainall was always thinking about himself. "If you help me," Mirabel said carefully, "I promise to repay you someday. You know I am a man of my word." Fainall considered this for a moment. "Very well," he said finally. "But don't expect too much. Lady Wishfort is stubborn. After..." Leaving Fainall's house, Mirabel went to see Lady Wishfort herself. He knew it wouldn't be easy to speak with her, but he had no choice. When he arrived at her home, she was sitting in front of a mirror, applying makeup. She glanced at him briefly and frowned. "What do you want?" she demanded sharply. "You are not welcome here." Mirabel smiled politely. "Lady Wishfort, please hear me out. I have come to apologize for any offense I may have caused you in the past. I truly regret if I hurt your feelings." Lady Wishfort raised an eyebrow. "Apologies mean nothing unless they are sincere," she said. "And I doubt yours are," Mirabel tried again. "I assure you my intentions are honest. All I want is to make peace with you, for Millamant's sake." At the mention of her niece's name, Lady Wishfort's expression darkened. "Do not bring Millamant into this," she snapped. "She is under my care, and I will decide whom she marries. It certainly won't be you." Mirabel felt frustrated, but kept his composure. "Then tell me what I must do to earn your forgiveness," he said. "Name your condition, and I will meet it." Lady Wishfort thought for a moment. "There is only one thing that might change my mind," she said slowly. "If you can prove yourself worthy, and that means giving up your schemes and tricks, then perhaps I will reconsider. Mirabell nodded. I understand, he said. Thank you for hearing me out. As he left Lady Wishfort's house, Mirabell realized that winning her approval would not be easy. She was determined to keep him away from Millamant, and she had powerful allies, including Mrs. Marwood and Fainall, who would support her. Meanwhile, Millamant was busy preparing for a party at her house. She invited all her friends, including a silly man named Sir Wilful Witwoud and his brother Petulant. Both men were known for their foolish behavior and ridiculous remarks, but they provided entertainment at social gatherings. When Mirabell arrived at the party, he sought out Millamant immediately. My dear, he said softly, I have been thinking about us. I want to ask you something important. Millamant looked at him curiously. What is it? She asked. Mirabell took a deep breath. Will you marry me? He said. But only if you agree to certain conditions. Millamant raised an eyebrow. Conditions? She repeated. What kind of conditions? Mirabell explained. I want us to have a marriage based on mutual respect and equality. You will keep your independence, and I will honor your wishes. But in return, I ask that you remain faithful to me and share my life fully. Millamant thought about this for a moment. Your proposal is reasonable, she said finally, but I need time to consider it. Before they could continue their conversation, Lady Wishfort burst into the room, followed by Mrs. Marwood and Fainall. Mirabell! Lady Wishfort shouted. How dare you come here after what you've done? Mirabell stepped forward calmly. I have done nothing wrong, he said. If you accuse me of something, please say it plainly. Lady Wishfort glared at him. You have plotted against me, she exclaimed. Mrs. Marwood has told me everything. Everyone turned to look at Mrs. Marwood, who smirked triumphantly. Yes, she said. Mirabell has been scheming behind your back, Lady Wishfort. He wants to ruin you and take control of Millamant's fortune. Mirabell shook his head. That is not true, he said firmly. Mrs. Marwood lies because she hates me. The room erupted into chaos as accusations flew back and forth. Would Mirabell be able to clear his name and win Lady Wishfort's approval? Or would Mrs. Marwood's schemes succeed in keeping him apart from Millamant? Chapter 2. Secrets and Lies. The room was filled with tension as Lady Wishfort glared at Mirabell, her face red with anger. How dare you deny it? She shouted. Mrs. Marwood has told me everything. You've been plotting against me, trying to steal my niece's fortune. Mirabell remained calm, though his mind raced. He knew Mrs. Marwood was lying, but he also knew that Lady Wishfort trusted her completely. Lady Wishfort, he said firmly, I have done no such thing. Mrs. Marwood is twisting the truth to turn you against me. Mrs. Marwood stepped forward, her voice dripping with false concern. My dear Lady Wishfort, she said, why would I lie? I only want to protect you from this man's schemes. He plans to trick you into giving Millamant's inheritance to him. Lady Wishfort turned to Millamant, who had been watching the argument quietly. Is this true? She demanded. Have you been conspiring with him? Millamant shook her head. No, Aunt, she said. I trust Mirabell. He would never deceive me. Lady Wishfort scoffed. Trust him? You are too naive, child. Men like Mirabell only care about money and power. Mirabell clenched his fists, but forced himself to stay composed. He couldn't let his temper get the better of him. Not now. Lady Wishfort, he said, if you will not believe me, then perhaps you will believe your own family. Ask Sir Wilful Witwoud, or Petulant. They know me well enough to vouch for my character. Sir Wilful, who had been sipping wine in the corner, looked up suddenly. Eh? What's this? He slurred. Mirabell? Oh yes, good fellow. Always polite, always charming. Petulant rolled his eyes. Don't listen to him, he muttered. He's drunk half the time, Lady Wishfort groaned. This is useless, she said. I cannot rely on fools to help me make decisions. Fainall, who had been silent until now, finally spoke up. "Perhaps there is a way to settle this matter," he suggested. "If Mirabel truly has nothing to hide, he should be willing to prove his innocence." Mirabel nodded. "I am ready to do whatever it takes," he said. Fainall smiled coldly. "Then swear an oath," he said. "On swear that you have no secret plans involving Lady Wishfort or Millamont's fortune." Mirabel hesitated for a moment, knowing that Fainall was setting a trap, but he saw no other choice. "Very well," he said. "I swear on my honor that I have no ill intentions toward Lady Wishfort or anyone else in this room." Mrs. Marwood smirked. "Words mean nothing without proof," she said. "And we all know how easily oaths can be broken." Lady Wishfort nodded in agreement. "She's right," she said. "Until I see real evidence of your honesty, I will not allow you near Millamant." With that, she stormed out of the room, leaving Mirabel and the others behind. Millamant watched her go, feeling torn between loyalty to her aunt and her love for Mirabel. "What are we going to do?" she whispered. Mirabel took her hand gently. "Do not worry," he said. "I will find a way to clear my name. Trust me." Later that evening, Mirabel met with his servant, Waitwell, and his wife, Foible, who worked as Lady Wishfort's maid. They were loyal to Mirabel and eager to help him. "We must act quickly," Mirabel said. "Mrs. Marwood and Fainall are plotting something. I can feel it. We need to uncover their secrets before they destroy us." Foible nodded. "I've overheard some things while serving Lady Wishfort," she said. "Mrs. Marwood visits her often, and they talk in private. I think they're planning something big." Waitwell frowned. "Lord Fainall is involved too," he added. "He's been asking questions about Lady Wishfort's finances." Mirabel thought carefully. "If we can expose their scheme, we might be able to turn the tables on them," he said. "But we'll need proof." Foible smiled mischievously. "Leave that to me," she said. "I'll keep my ears open and report back anything useful." Over the next few days, Foible gathered information, while pretending to simply do her job. She discovered that Mrs. Marwood and Fainall were planning to blackmail Lady Wishfort. They had found evidence of her romantic letters to a man named Sir Roland, a fake persona created by Mirabel and Waitwell as part of an earlier plan to win Lady Wishfort's favor. Now, Mrs. Marwood intended to use those letters to force Lady Wishfort into giving them control of her wealth. When Foible shared this news with Mirabel, he realized they had a chance to outsmart their enemies. "This is perfect," he said. "If we reveal their plot, Lady Wishfort will see through their lies, and she'll have no choice but to trust me." But first, they needed to gather more evidence. Mirabel instructed Waitwell to dress up as Sir Roland again and meet with Aiho Lady Wishfort. Meanwhile, Foible arranged for the meeting to take place in a secluded garden where Mrs. Marwood and Fainall could overhear everything. On the day of the meeting, Lady Wishfort waited nervously in the garden, expecting to see Sir Roland. When Waitwell appeared in disguise, she greeted him warmly. "Oh, Sir Roland," she said, fluttering her fan. "I am so glad to see you." "Lady Wishfort," Waitwell replied in a deep voice, "your beauty dazzles me as always." Unbeknownst to them, Mrs. Marwood and Fainall were hiding nearby, listening closely. They exchanged smug smiles, thinking they had caught Lady Wishfort in her deception. Suddenly, Mirabel appeared, followed by Foible and several witnesses. "Lady Wishfort," he said loudly, "I have uncovered a terrible plot against you. These two," he pointed at Mrs. Marwood and Fainall, "plan to blackmail you using your letters to Sir Roland." Lady Wishfort gasped in shock. "What? Blackmail?" Mrs. Marwood tried to deny it, but Foible stepped forward with the evidence. "It's true, my lady," she said. "They've been scheming behind your back." Lady Wishfort turned to Mrs. Marwood, her face pale with fury. "How could you betray me like this?" she demanded. Mrs. Marwood stammered, unable to defend herself. Fainall, realizing their plan had failed, tried to flee, but Mirabel stopped him. "Not so fast," he said. you'll answer for your actions." As the truth came to light, Lady Wishfort felt both humiliated and grateful. She turned to Mirabelle. "I misjudged you," she admitted. "You've saved me from ruin." Mirabelle bowed politely. "All I ask is your blessing for my marriage to Millamant," he said. Lady Wishfort hesitated, then nodded. "Very well," she said. "You have earned it." Though the immediate danger had passed, questions lingered in the air. Would Lady Wishfort forgive herself for being deceived? And how would Millamant react to her aunt's change of heart? Chapter 3: Love and Forgiveness. The garden was quiet now, the tension of the earlier confrontation slowly fading. Lady Wishfort sat on a bench, her hands trembling as she held the letters that had nearly ruined her. She felt a mix of emotions: anger at being deceived by Mrs. Marwood and Fainall, shame for her own foolishness in trusting them, and gratitude toward Mirabelle for exposing the truth. Mirabelle approached her gently. "Lady Wishfort," he said softly, "I know this has been difficult." "For you, but it is over now. You are safe." Lady Wishfort looked up at him, her eyes filled with regret. "I treated you unfairly," she admitted. "I accused you of treachery when you were innocent all along." Mirabelle smiled kindly. "It is easy to misunderstand people when lies surround us," he replied. "What matters is that the truth has come to light, and that we can move forward." Lady Wishfort nodded slowly. "You are right," she said, "and I owe you more than just an apology. You saved me from ruin, and for that I am deeply grateful." She paused, then added, "As for Millamant, if she truly loves you, then I give my blessing. But I hope you will treat her well, for she deserves nothing less." Mirabelle bowed, respectfully. "You have my word," he said. "Millamant will always be cherished and respected." With that, Lady Wishfort rose to her feet and walked back toward the house, leaving Mirabelle alone in the garden. He watched her go, feeling a sense of relief. The hardest part was over. Lady Wishfort's approval meant he could finally marry. Millamant without obstacles. But there was still work to be done. He needed to speak with Millamant and ensure that their relationship remained strong, despite the chaos they had endured. Meanwhile, inside the house, Millamant paced nervously in her room. She had heard about the events in the garden from Foible, who had rushed to tell her everything. "It's incredible!" Foible exclaimed. "Mr. Mirabelle uncovered their plot and saved your aunt from ruin. Now she has given her blessing for your marriage." Millamant sighed, torn between happiness and concern. "I'm glad Aunt Wishfort has come around," she said. "But I worry about how much pain this has caused her. She trusted Mrs. Marwood and Fainall, and now she feels betrayed." Foible nodded sympathetically. "Yes, it's been hard on her," she agreed. "But she's stronger than she seems. And Mr. Mirabelle has proven himself to be a good man. One who truly cares about you." Millamant smiled faintly. "He has," she said. "But I need to hear it from him. I need to know that our love can withstand all these complications." Just then, there was a knock at the door. It was Mirabelle. "May I come in?" he asked. Millamant opened the door and let him enter. For a moment, they simply looked at each other, unsure of what to say. Finally, Mirabelle broke the silence. "Millamant," he began, "I want to apologize for everything you've had to endure because of me. I never intended for any of this to happen." Millamant shook her head. "You don't need to apologize," she said. "None of this was your fault. If anything, you've shown great strength and honesty throughout it all." Mirabelle stepped closer, taking her hands in his. "Still, I wish I could have spared you the trouble," he said. "Your aunt means well, but her pride made things more complicated than they needed to be." Millamant looked into his eyes, seeing the sincerity in his expression. "My aunt has learned a valuable lesson," she said. "And so have I. Love isn't just about passion or romance. It's about trust, patience, and understanding. Are you ready for that?" Mirabel nodded firmly. "Absolutely," he said. "I am ready to build a life with you, one where we respect each other's independence and support each other through every challenge." Millamant smiled, feeling a weight lift from her shoulders. "Then I accept your proposal," she said, "on one condition, that we promise to always be honest with each other, no matter what." Mirabel grinned. "Agreed," he said. "Honesty above all else." As they embraced, Foible peeked into the room and clapped her hands quietly. "Oh, how wonderful," she whispered. "You two are perfect for each other." Later that evening, Lady Wishfort called everyone together in the drawing room to make an announcement. She stood tall, her usual confidence returning as she addressed the group. "Friends," she said, "I have wronged Mr. Mirabel, and I am here to make amends. He has proven himself to be a man of honor, and I give my full blessing for his marriage to my niece, Millamant." The guests applauded politely, though some, like Sir Wilful and Petulant, seemed more interested in the refreshments than the speech. Still, the mood in the room was lighter than it had been in days. After the announcement, Millamant pulled her aunt aside for a private conversation. "Aunt Wishfort," she said gently, "thank you for changing your mind. It means a lot to me, and to Mirabel." Lady Wishfort patted her hand affectionately. "You deserve happiness, my dear," she said, "and if Mr. Mirabel makes you happy, then I am content." Millamant hugged her tightly. "I love you, Aunt," she said, "and I promise to take care of you, even after I marry." Lady Wishfort wiped away a tear. "That is all I ask," she said. While the reconciliation between Millamant and her aunt brought warmth to the household, Fainall and Mrs. Marwood were not so fortunate. Their plot exposed, they were shunned by society and forced to leave London in disgrace. Fainall returned to his unhappy marriage, while Mrs. Marwood disappeared entirely, her reputation in ruins. As for Sir Wilful, Witwoud and Petulant, they continued their antics, providing comic relief at every turn. Sir Wilful in particular seemed oblivious to the drama that had unfolded. "What's all this fuss about letters and plots?" he asked during dinner. "Can't we just enjoy ourselves?" Everyone laughed, grateful for the light-hearted moment. Even Lady Wishfort managed a smile, realizing that life was too short to dwell on past mistakes. Yet beneath the surface, questions lingered. Would Lady Wishfort fully recover from her humiliation? Could Mirabel and Millamant navigate the challenges of married life while maintaining their independence? And most importantly, would the lessons learned during this chaotic time lead to lasting change? Chapter 4. Preparing for a New Beginning. The days following Lady Wishfort's announcement were filled with preparations for Mirabel and Millamant's wedding. The house buzzed with activity as servants decorated rooms, arranged flowers, and prepared food for the celebration. Everyone seemed to share a sense of excitement, even Lady Wishfort, who had begun to embrace the idea of her niece's marriage. Despite the cheerful atmosphere, however, not everyone was entirely at peace. Lady Wishfort still struggled with feelings of embarrassment over her role in the recent scandal. Though she tried to put on a brave face, moments of self-doubt crept in. "How could I have been so blind?" she muttered one morning while looking at herself in the mirror. "I trusted those two villains completely." Foible, who was nearby arranging ribbons for the wedding decorations, noticed her mistress's troubled expression. "My lady," she said gently, "you mustn't blame yourself too harshly. Everyone makes mistakes. It's part of being human." "Lady," Wishfort sighed. "But my mistake nearly cost me everything," she replied. "If Mirabel hadn't stepped in." Foible placed a comforting hand on her shoulder. "And that is why you should be grateful, not only for Mr. Mirabel's cleverness, but also for your own strength," she said. "You faced the truth bravely, and now you're moving forward. That takes courage." Lady Wishfort managed a small smile. "Perhaps you're right," she admitted. "Still, I hope never to let pride cloud my judgment again." As the day of the wedding approached, Millamant found herself reflecting on her own journey. She loved Mirabelle deeply, but she knew that marriage would bring new challenges. Their agreement to respect each other's independence while nurturing their partnership was a promise she intended to keep. Yet, she couldn't help wondering if they were truly ready for all that lay ahead. One afternoon, as she sat writing letters in the drawing room, Mirabelle entered with a thoughtful expression. "Millamant," he said, sitting beside her, "I've been thinking about our future together." Millamant looked up curiously. "Oh, what about it?" Mirabelle hesitated before speaking. "Marriage isn't just about grand gestures or romantic promises," he began. "It's about the little things, the daily choices we make to support and care for each other. Are we prepared for that?" Millamant nodded slowly. "I believe we are," she said. "We've already faced so much adversity, and yet here we are, still committed to one another. That gives me hope." Mirabelle smiled, feeling reassured by her words. "Then let us vow to always communicate openly," he said. "No secrets, no assumptions, just honesty and trust." Millamant reached out and took his hand. "Agreed," she said firmly. "And remember, I will hold you to that promise." Their conversation was interrupted by Sir Wilful Witwoud, who burst into the room with his usual lack of subtlety. "Ah, lovebirds!" he exclaimed, grinning widely. "I hear there's to be a grand feast tomorrow. Will there be wine?" "Lots of it?" Millamant laughed despite herself. "Yes, Sir Wilful," she said. "There will be plenty of wine, and food, and music, and dancing." Sir Wilful clapped his hands together. "Splendid!" he declared. "I shall drink to your health and happiness, and perhaps even recite a poem or two." Mirabelle chuckled. "We look forward to it," he said dryly. Later that evening, Lady Wishfort hosted a small gathering in honor of the upcoming wedding. Friends and family gathered in the parlor, sharing stories and laughter. The mood was warm and festive, though Lady Wishfort occasionally glanced at Mrs. Fainall, who sat quietly in a corner. Though Mrs. Fainall had played no direct role in the earlier schemes, her connection to Fainall made her presence awkward. After dinner, Lady Wishfort stood to propose a toast. "To Mirabelle and Millamant," she said, raising her glass, "may their union bring them joy, prosperity, and enduring love." Everyone joined in the toast, clinking glasses and cheering warmly. As the evening drew to a close, Lady Wishfort pulled Millamant aside for one final heart-to-heart. "My dear," she said softly, "I want you to know how proud I am of you. You've handled this entire situation with grace and wisdom." Millamant hugged her tightly. "Thank you, Aunt," she said. "Your support means more to me than words can express." Lady Wishfort kissed her forehead. "Go now and prepare for your big day," she said. "Tomorrow begins a new chapter, for both of us." The next morning dawned bright and clear, perfect for a wedding. Guests arrived early, filling the garden where the ceremony was to take place. Flowers adorned every surface, and musicians played soft melodies as people mingled and chatted. When Millamant appeared in her elegant gown, escorted by Lady Wishfort, a hush fell over the crowd. Mirabelle, standing at the front, felt his breath catch in his throat. She looked radiant, a vision of beauty and confidence. As they exchanged vows, their voices steady and sincere, it was clear to everyone present that their love was built on more than just passion. It was rooted in mutual respect, understanding, and a shared commitment to navigating life's complexities together. After the ceremony, the celebrations continued late into the night. There was laughter, dancing, and heartfelt speeches from friends and family. Even Sir Wilful delivered an impromptu poem, much to everyone's amusement. Yet, as the festivities wound down, Millamant and Mirabelle stole away for a quiet moment alone. Standing under the stars, they reflected on the journey that had brought them here, and the adventures that awaited them. "What happens now?" Millamant asked softly. Mirabelle smiled. "Now we begin our life together," he said, "with all its joys, challenges, and surprises. Millamant leaned her head against his shoulder. "I'm ready," she said. "Are you?" "Absolutely," Mirabel replied. "Together, we can face anything." As they stood there, holding hands and gazing at the night sky, they felt a profound sense of gratitude for the lessons they had learned, the obstacles they had overcome, and the love that had carried them through it all. Yet, even as they embraced their new beginning, whispers of change lingered in the air. Life, after all, is unpredictable, and the road ahead would surely test their resolve. But for now, they were content to savor the moment, knowing that their bond was stronger than any challenge they might face. Chapter 5. Life After the Wedding. The wedding was over, but the happiness it brought stayed with everyone. Mirabel and Millamant began their new life together, and Lady Wishfort felt proud of her niece. The big events of the past weeks had changed them all in different ways. Mirabel and Millamant moved into a beautiful house near London. It was not too far from Lady Wishfort, so she could visit often. Every morning they woke up early and spent time talking about their plans for the day. They promised each other to always be honest and kind, just as they had agreed before the wedding. One day, Millamant said to Mirabel, "Do you remember how hard things were before? All the lies and tricks?" Mirabel nodded. "Yes, I remember," he replied. "But those hard times taught us something important." Millamant smiled. "They taught us to trust each other," she said, "and to never take love for granted." Mirabel held her hand. "That is true," he said. "We are stronger because of what we went through." Meanwhile, Lady Wishfort was also learning from her mistakes. She spent more time with her family and friends, trying to be a better person. One afternoon, she sat in her garden with Foible, enjoying the sunshine. "Foible," she said, "I have been thinking. People make mistakes, but it is never too late to change." Foible nodded. "That is very wise, my lady," she said. "You have already changed so much." Lady Wishfort smiled. "Thank you," she said. "I feel lighter now, like a weight has been lifted." She thought about Millamant and Mirabel. They were happy together, and that made her happy too. "Love is a powerful thing," she whispered to herself. "It can heal even the deepest wounds." Back at their home, Mirabel and Millamant faced small challenges, just like any married couple. Sometimes they disagreed about little things, like where to place furniture or how to spend their money. But they always talked about their problems and found solutions together. One evening, Millamant said, "Mirabel, do you think we will always be this happy?" Mirabel laughed softly. "No one is happy all the time," he said. "But I believe our love will help us through the hard times." Millamant nodded. "That is what I believe too," she said. As the months passed, Mirabel and Millamant grew closer. They invited their friends to dinner often, including Sir Wilful Witwoud and Petulant. Sir Wilful still told silly jokes, and Petulant complained about everything, but their company added fun to every gathering. Lady Wishfort visited regularly, bringing gifts and stories from town. She loved seeing how happy Millamant was. "You two are perfect for each other," she often said. Even Mrs. Fainall came to visit sometimes. Though she was quiet and shy, she seemed grateful to be included. "Thank you for forgiving me," she once said to Lady Wishfort. Lady Wishfort patted her hand. "We all make mistakes," she said kindly. "What matters is learning from them." As for Fainall and Mrs. Marwood, no one heard much about them after they left London. Some said they lived far away, unhappy and alone. Others believed they got what they deserved for being selfish and dishonest. In the end, the story of the way of the world became a lesson for everyone. It showed that love, honesty, and forgiveness are the most important things in life. Mirabel. And Millamant proved that a strong relationship is built on trust and respect. Lady Wishfort learned that pride can lead to trouble, but humility can bring peace. And even those who made mistakes, like Mrs. Fainall, found a chance to start over. One sunny afternoon, Mirabel and Millamant walked together in their garden. The flowers were blooming, and birds sang in the trees. Millamant stopped and looked around. "This feels like a dream," she said. Mirabel smiled. "It is not a dream," he said. "It is real. We worked hard for this life, and we deserve it." Millamant leaned her head on his shoulder. "Yes," she said, "and I am grateful for every moment." As they stood there, holding hands, they knew their journey was just beginning. Life would have ups and downs, but they were ready to face them, together. And so the story ends, not with dramatic twists or grand speeches, but with a quiet promise of hope and love. The characters had grown, learned, and become better versions of themselves. They had discovered that true happiness comes not from wealth or power, but from kindness, understanding, and the courage to change.